Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is the Penn State World Campus Technology Club, and our very special guest, and I'm very excited, is Jayson Street, and he will be talking to us about hacker things. So take it away, Jayson.
I will be talking. Well, what I do is isn't there a way for people to actually submit questions?
There's a chat, yeah.
Yes.
But
so,
I don't have it on where they raise their hand. I don't think they can do that.
Well, that's fine. It's like, but one of the things that I do when I talk to colleges, it's like I feel I'm a high school dropout who's never been to college, to actually be a student. So I don't have like any frame of reference on it, but I've seen a lot of movies that deal with college settings, I mean, including Harry Potter. So what I want to, results may vary. But what I do is I think that a lot of students are always getting people lecturing at them and telling them, hey, this is what all this is supposed to be doing and stuff. So I do something different when I talk to colleges and small local hacker groups. I do a thing called Just Hacker Things with Jayson. And what that means is I don't talk to you about stuff that you're not interested in. It's like I answer questions. So start filling up the chats with questions, and it is really like an AMA on Reddit because, and this is got to be careful about this because I also don't filter. So be careful with your questions because it's like I lie for a living. I don't do it for free. So what I say is just, no part of my employer, whatever, you're supposed to caveats like I care. But boom, it's like I legit will just tell you any kind of question things. It's like I'll answer them. Oh, and we already got a question. What is your favorite red team experience? One of my favorite red team experiences actually just occurred last month. It was awesome. The year before, in 2019, I went at the very beginning of the year, and I went through this company like butter. It was like, I mean, I was able to like pwn them. I was able to like get in. got into the building security. I got into the lobby security. I bypassed their controls. It's like, I was like, it was really cool. It's like the guy who hired us, and no one had actually successfully gotten in before. It's like the guy who had contracted the company that I'm working for to do the job, he literally comes back from a conference meeting, and I'm sitting at his desk. And the look on his face when he sees me there, it was just classic. That's not the experience, though. I came back this year, and I got caught a lot. It's like, I mean, like legit, I wasn't giving them the win. They were like, in every section, I mean, I still broke in, yeah, yada, yada, yada. I still compromised them. I still got in. I still showed them how I could like plug in a USB device and execute code. But in mostly every section that I went in, at least one person questioned me like, you're not supposed to be here. I don't think you're authorized. No one told me you were supposed to be at my computer. And it was so amazingly awesome because they learned from the year before. I did something. If you're a red teamer and all you do is break things, and you can come back the next year and you're breaking things in the same way, you suck as a red teamer, because that means you didn't really provide value to your client. And the only reason why the red team exists is to make the blue team better, period. That is the only reason why they're there. So it's like, so when I saw that they were improving and doing better and getting better, it was amazing. That was one of the best red team experiences. I mean, I literally legit was glowing after that, talking to the client like, you guys were awesome. It's like, I mean, people were stopping me. It's like, you need to work on this, this, and this, and this. But overall, you did an amazing job. So that was probably one of my best red team experiences. And what is the best defense as a blue teamer? I guess, well, I mean, patching is, I will tell you, patching is important. But one of the biggest defenses as a blue teamer is one of these horribly boring, tedious, unsexiest thing that you can do. Asset management. How many people actually track how many different devices are on their network? How many people are getting alerts when a new MAC address is detected on their network, and what IP address? What have they tracked down their LAN so they know exactly which that IP address will come in from, and be able to track it back to that location to find out who just popped in another device that we weren't supposed to be ready for. Who's actually tracking to see if all their assets are properly patched. So if you don't know what you have, how can you really ever protect it? How can you really ever defend against it? So I think, and it's horrible. It's like no one wants to do it. It's like it's usually a job you might be able to like pass off to the help desk or the IT support team. It's like if you trust them to do the job properly, but you have to be responsible for it. You have to make sure that you understand what's on your network, and you have to make sure that that network is visible for you to see. So you can defend it. It's like if you don't know what all is on your network to defend it, it's not being defended. So that's probably one of the best defenses as a blue teamer, is just knowledge of your assets. Yes, they did get caught, so they did learn. That was one of the best parts. What are some of your favorite tools, blue or red? One of my favorite tools is Google. Google's amazing. I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I wish I would be starting out now because Google's way more prevalent, and I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. And yes, for OSINT, Google's amazing, but that's not just it. It's like Google's amazing for everything else. I'm going to be fixing my drone. It's like, and I'm not doing that because I'm reading a book or a novel, or I'm like, really good mechanically. It's like I'm freaking mother effing Googling, like, why did this thing stop working? Why I'm getting this error? And it tells me, oh, and by the way, here's a YouTube video on how to do this thing. So you have now at this day and age, it's like such a vast amount of resources that are only limited by your, drive to keep learning about them. So it's like, because it's out there for you to learn. So you can learn and master any of the skills that you want, because it's available on the internet for that. So Google is probably one of the biggest tools that I use, and I do predominantly use it a lot for OSINT, finding out information and just showing people what they give out there freely. And so I think another tool, trying to think what's a really good one that halfway make me sound smart, and set all the expectations up. I can't think of one off my head. It's like it's used. I mean, I use a lot of tools. I got the pineapple, of course. It's like the Bash Bunny, and I use those. They're great tools because they're educational tools. They're there to educate the people and teach them why these things are dangerous and why they need to do something. You can tell people day in and day out. It's like that walking across the street is dangerous. And people don't really ever get that until after someone gets hit by a car and they realize, oh crap, that could have been me. Yeah, that could have been you. You were doing that exact same thing just 5 minutes earlier. So I think that's a huge thing, is being able to show those demos, like the Ninja cable, like the MG's OMG cable, like the Bash Bunny, like the pineapple. Those give you a teachable, what I call teachable moment. It's like I'm actually working on this new class where I call it How to Become the Teachable Moment. And it's like, and it's just, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to show them where it becomes real, where they understand why the threat pertains to them. Do you think the online InfoSec community is an asset to be a part of? Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm going to be like, I should have hesitated too long. This is too dramatic. I do believe the online community, and done correctly, it's like everything. If applied correctly, it can be very beneficial. If you don't follow the directions properly, you're in for a bad time. So the online community is great. for a lot of things. But at the same time, it's also can be your worst enemy. And it's also the way it goes is, it's like I'm doing a rant this year about about the community and how it works. And it gets me because everybody's going to have their different view of what the community is. And let's be honest, it's totally based on that person and their experiences and their life experiences and how they proceed through life. I did a talk in Helsinki, and I was at this conference, and it's like I'm probably gonna mention this in my talk in the future too, so sneak peek. And there was this guy sitting next to me, and we were talking, and he was like, well, you did a good talk about the community, about women in the community, but really Helsinki doesn't have that problem. It's like women are very accepted here. Women feel very accepted here. And we don't treat women like that, so they know that they're part of the community. And I'm hearing this, and I'm like, and I just like point blank, and I looked at him, and I was like, how many women have you asked about that? How many women have you talked to about that? That's what their experiences are. That's what their community is like. And all of a sudden, it got real quiet. It's like, so you can't be saying, this is my experience. Oh my gosh, everybody must be feeling like this. Because it's not. It's not that same for everybody. The experiences and the interactions that you have are going to be different and are dramatically different for other people that are trying to do the same thing, that may be in the same spot as you are, that may be learning the same things or just trying to start out, but because they have different characteristics that make them different, you know, and we're talking about boobies or, you know, male genitalia or skin color or religious preferences or whatever that dictate, oh, that person has to have this kind of agenda now, or this person is going to be like this kind of person, or this is my stereotypical thing, how I'm going to think this person is going to be approaching the problem. It's going to be different. Overall, it should be positive. It's like, I do not care. It's like, I mean, and this is one of the key things I think, and I still will one of the hills that I die on, is that hacking and the hacking community, it is not about what you identify as, who you pray to or don't pray to, or what imaginary line on a map dictates what country you are in. It's like, or what skin color, you know, that, you know, our mystical thing that we call race now we have. It's like, which is only something that's recently in the like 1800s, 1700s. It's like, in the first place, it's like dictates that. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's overly positive because hackers are like, what do you know? What can you teach me? And what can I teach you? And I think that's one of the key true ethos that we have to remember about hacking. It's like, because I know so many different smart people, and to narrow them down to a label is just humiliating. It's like, I mean, we shouldn't, I mean, it gets onto me. It's like, so community is everybody. It's like being able to start saying, you know, the women in tech or the POC in tech or we're hackers in tech. And sometimes there needs to be a subject and a subsection, you know, to protect that. And it's like, and give them more voice because you need to amplify those voices. But overall, I think the online community is starting to understand where we are in our family and how we deal with each other and how we work with each other. And yes, there are bad areas and there's bad places and there's bad people. And it's like, I get attacked all the time and so I get trolls and everything. That's fine. It's like, but overall, I think the online community is great, and it's going to be what you bring into it and what you decide to not take with you. It's like, because sometimes it's not just what you bring with you, it's what you know, keep off you. It's like, you know, it's like what you block, what you keep out of your timeline. It's like, or refuse to engage in. I don't engage a lot with people that I feel like are being negative or trying to like attack me or say something. It's not because I'm trying to hide something, or it's like I just don't give them the time of day. It's like I have other things to be doing. It's like, so I just don't engage in that. And I ramble a lot if you haven't noticed. So there's that. On asset management and port locking, interesting. Okay, yes. So Hack5 is awesome. Yes, they are. Nmap is a great tool. F0rb is like, you know, one of the cornerstones of discovery tools. It's like I used Nmap when I started my very first networking and learning. So it's like, I mean, that was a long time ago. Okay, that tool's been around. So so Nmap has always been really good. And what are the things you think Give Us a Community can improve on? Oh, I will tell you this. It doesn't matter what I think the InfoSec community can improve on. I think what I see that we need to improve on, I need to work on that. It's like to make those improvements. It's like, don't wait for someone to say, this is what we need to improve on, let's improve on. Just if you see something wrong, do something about it. It's like, so the things that I think that we can improve on, I'm working to change them. It's like, if you're looking, if you think that if you see how I'm working and how I operate and how I try to be positive, how I try to correct these things, that's because I see it wrong and I want to do something. It's like, that's I think one of the other cornerstones of being a hacker. It's like you see something wrong and you want to fix it. It's like you want to make it better. So don't look for my definition of what's wrong, because it's going to be a different definition. It's like what you see is wrong in this community. Fix it. Take some time in and try to work on it and make it better. What do you think? How did you get started in InfoSec? Well, that's really hilarious. I started in InfoSec, information security. So I started, how old? I'm very old. Okay, so it's like, so about 30 years ago. Yeah, around 30 years ago, before probably most of you guys were born, I started off in physical security and law enforcement. And it's like, because I always liked being the good guy. I liked helping people. And unfortunately, working for some of the places I worked for, it's like there wasn't a lot of the good guys on those teams. But I still believed in that. And I still believed in being part of the community and trying to be, you know, the whole protect and serve thing, which is naive still today for some reason, which is wrong. So I started doing that. I got tired of getting shot at, literally, you know, like literally like a bullet going 2 inches from my right ear and almost getting shot. I still have the bullet that was in the pipe that was going to kill me. It's packed away. It was in my living room stuff. So I got tired of that, and I got into physical security again, back into like doing little guard stuff. And I was listening in a car, and there's actually a point to the story. I was listening in the car where I learned how to do, where someone was talking about doing help desk support. So I got into desktop support. It's like I didn't start automatic information security. It's like people talk about like where you have to start this way, you have to learn this. I was for 2 years in a row, I was the best janitor at McDonald's for the Southeast Texas region 2 years in a row. That's on my bio on my website, because I was an awesome effing janitor. It's like whatever you do it well and you do it with pride. It's like, and so I'm very proud of the fact that I was really good at that. And so I started in the help desk, you know, just fixing the printers and fixing machines and just like, but I was learning how the computers worked. I learned how they worked on the computer. I was learning troubleshooting and problem solving and how to figure out, well, this is not this one. It's like, that's hacking. It's like, I learned that stuff, and I learned it the hard way, which is why I tell people to go to college, because it helps to show you not have to do it the hard way. You get to learn how it is the first way, the right way first. But, and the VP of technical security back in 2000, he did not have his office yet. and he heard me talking to the other help desk people about troubleshooting. And I've been sword fighting since I was 7. So I was, of course, the invariable, you know, Sun Tzu quotes and talking about that and things like, and those keywords, I guess, you know, made him think about it. And he literally said it was me quoting Sun Tzu one time that made him really get into it, which is such a trope and a stereotype in this community. I use it unironically, ironically, in some of my training material. He asked me if I wanted to do computer security, and it blew me away. I was like, hold on, I get to do computers and security, and no one shoots at me. That's amazing. I'll definitely do this. It's like, and the best part about it is now is that for the first 10 years, I was doing blue team. I was all blue team. Yay, blue team. It's like I built defenses, and I didn't build defenses like you're supposed to, like the proper, like, oh, this is the way you're supposed to do it. No, mother, I built defenses like I was going to rob you. When I did physical security, it's like I looked for camera placements. I looked to make sure the locks are like I was going to rob you. It's like, this is why I need to do this, because I would totally do this shady thing that would try to get me in here. I need to make sure that's protected. So it's like, and then back in 2010, I started learning about the red teaming. And I was like, oh, let me start testing my defenses and see if I actually did it. And it would protect against shady people like me. And then I found out something very important, that I'm really good at robbing people. So I started doing more of the red teaming stuff. But I always did it with the goal to keep the blue team in mind. So I don't say I do red teaming, because I think that's stupid. It's like I do security awareness engagements. I'm trying to teach the users. I want the users to win. If a user or a company or a client doesn't win or doesn't have a win by the end of my engagement, I make sure I get caught. There will always be someone catching me on my engagement, because I will make that happen. Even if I have to unplug a machine and walk off with it, which I've done before behind a bank in Beirut. It was like a long story, but it was like I did that, and it's like, and the guy caught it, and it's like I was like, yay, you won, you got me, good job. It's like he's also the one that gave me the user ID and password so I could successfully log out of the machine and shut it down properly. But I didn't go into that detail. It's like he still eventually caught me when I was walking out with the machine. He realized that was something he needed to talk to. So I started doing that. So now I do that predominantly. So it's like, but I started off as a IT help desk, just learning and trying to do the best, and then going and learning as I went. It's like, so that was really important.
Hi, Jayson.
Huh?
Maria here. First of all, thank you. I have a quick question for you. You started as IT help desk, okay? So majority of us, this is our second degree in the school, in the university right now. I am in a second degree. I have prior to this cybersecurity, I have a degree for bachelor's in science and hotel management. So most of the people I spoke with from conference, I met a lot of people, and most of them kind of like, if you don't have an IT background, you're gonna have to start an IT background. I don't want to start an IT background. Most of us knows the basics, networking, that's very important for all of us. We know that. So do we really have to go, once we go ahead, we start looking for a job, do we really have to go as a IT help desk? Or can we just go ahead and bypass that?
Yeah, no, you understand. It's like you could start it. The whole thing about being a hacker, the whole thing about being an information, and I actually am one of those guys who do the blasphemy of saying, you know, InfoSec is just as a part of hacking as hacking is a part of InfoSec. Now, in its current iteration, it's like, because hacking started before computers existed. It's like, it's about passion, it's about creativity, it's about that, you know, this is what I was told it could do, let me make it do something else. So you don't need any prior requirements. The only requirement you need to get a job in information security is for you to step back and don't gatekeep yourself and say, I want this job. this is the job I'm going to go for, and have the passion to go out for it. Screw anything else. It's like, it doesn't matter. Get paper if you think, because sometimes we need paper to get that first job interview or to get that first, you know, to get through HR. Great. Okay. But requirements, the only requirement you have to have is the readiness and the ability to go and say, I want to be in information security. This is the career for me. This is what I want to do. It's like, there is no other requirement. There is no magic formula. You should have this job experience or you should have this work experience. It's like, that's BS and that's gatekeeping. That's like someone trying to tell you, this is what I expect from you. Screw that crap. No, you have the passion. You have the ability to say, I want to do this. Go do that thing. It's like, don't wait for someone else to tell you to do that thing or this is how you're supposed to do that thing. That thing needs to get done. Do it. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to follow up another question on that, but thank you. That's very helpful and enlightenment to me because I've experienced a lot of that thoughts. How about there is a misconception about should I use Windows computer or Mac? I'm a Mac user, and a lot of people, whenever I go on conference, they were like, why do you use Mac?
Seriously?
Yes, yes. So what, personally, and this is just personal, how do you have any recommendation for that? Well, I use VMs most of the time, but.
First of all, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. It's like, because I'll say whatever, but it's like, I try sometimes to be like politically correct at least, or at least tactful. Is it mostly guys telling you this thing?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what, for some reason, it's like, because see, that's some bull crap, okay? First of all, I abuse every operating system equally. It's like in this lab, I've got Windows machines, I've got Mac machines, I've got Linux machines. That's bull crap. Most of the researchers, most of the malware researchers, most of the security threat intel researchers that I see are freaking MacBooks. I think I stand out sometimes because I use a Windows laptop. MacBooks have better memory management. It's like, especially when you're using VMs. I've always found it smoother and easier to use my VMs, including my Windows VMs. It's like in, it's like in Mac. It's like, so I like Windows for the mobility. It's like I've got a small Surface Go and an iPad Pro. It's like when I travel for presentations and like, but when I'm pen testing, it's like I'll use a different. I'm trying to see if I can get my boss to get me a new MacBook because they got 64 gigs of RAM. And that was one of the main things that I stopped using Macs predominantly for, is just because of the limited architecture that they had in their book, their notebooks. But they've increased the memory size now on those, and a better video card for GPU cracking, or whatever you want to say, because it's like I'm playing WoW or Overwatch, but whatever. It's like, so yeah, it's like they've got better video cards as well, so they're coming up with better physical architecture. But screw that noise. It's like, who's like, oh, that's just another thing of someone being able to say, oh, you're doing this, so if I tell you this will put you off and make me sound like I know more and stuff. It's like, that's ridiculously stupid. It's like, so some of the best researchers that I know are using Macs. It's like, and it doesn't make me less of a researcher because I'm using a Windows machine. Use what you like, period. It's like, I mean, if you're going to be judged by what kind of stickers you have on your laptop. It's like, or if you have none at all. I mean, come on. It's like, let's be honest about it. It's like, let's see. What was your first engagement? My first my first pen test was accidentally taking down some Cisco switches on a network pen test. I screwed up horribly. I didn't do a properly. It was a disaster. It was really crappy of me. I did a very poor job of it. I didn't really know what a good. I hope you weren't expecting like a really cool story about how I did something really amazing. I screwed up really bad. I did not do well. I found some vulnerabilities and stuff, so I gave some good stuff to the client. I did better on the physical stuff, and I should have figured out then that I was way better doing the physical stuff. But doing the network-based attacks, it's like they're boring. I don't like them. It's like I'm not good at them. So I like to do mostly on-site physical stuff because it's easier for me to rob you in person than over the internet. And so I do the, but my first job was like really bad. This company had me do their tests, and I did the network thing, and I think I just didn't throttle the Nmap scan or the Nessus scan, and it's like, and I didn't give them a really good report either. It's like I gave them like a Nessus output report, and then you don't do that. It's like friends don't let friends, submit Nessus reports to clients. That's just not the thing that you do. Yeah, it was a really bad example of what, a really great example of what not to do. So there's that. And who are your InfoSec people or companies that you follow specifically, or some InfoSec people? The people that I follow are very easy to find out. It's like if you go on my Twitter profile and you look under my list, I have awesome people in real life. Those are mostly, I think all of them, haven't updated them recently. It's like I might have to go through that. But they're literally awesome people that I've met in real life. And if they turn out later and they become less awesome, I've taken people off the list. But also my InfoSec list, it's like are people that are not maybe, some of them are like on both lists. Some people are really good at InfoSec, and it's like I've maybe not met them in person, so I can't verify that they're awesome people. But those two lists are like two of the big lists that I follow that I think they're doing a really good job. I think just calling people out. I'm always gonna one of the first people I'm always gonna call out is FX, Adam Laurie, Jeff Moss, Dan Kaminsky. Those people have always been always treated me well, and not treated me well once I became known. But like literally when I was a stupid noob at DEFCON 12, they treated me nicely. They treated me with respect, and they treated me like I was a part of their community when I just started, and I started it off poorly. I'm really good at doing things really bad very quickly, and at least learning from them. At least I learned from my mistakes, and I have a lot of practice. So so those are the main people. But you also have like Dave Kennedy, Marcus J. Carey. You got Katie Mo. You've got Leslie Cartwright. Hacks for Pancakes. I'm terrible with names. You've got Kirsten Renner. It's like you've got a lot of people out there that are doing good for the community, that are doing good for propelling the community forward and the research forward. You got Malware Tech Blog. It's like you've got people out there that are doing research, that are putting in time to make things and discover vulnerabilities to make things more secure. So you just look for them and find them. How much time is spent prepping for an engagement? Oh, not really much. I'm not a professional. I've never presented myself in a professional manner. I don't think. I never try to give off that false impression that I'm professional. I tell a client up front that I'm doing 2 hours of Google. It's like when I go after them, it's usually, the longest I've ever taken to do OSINT, to find a properly, enough research and enough information that was enough to successfully compromise the company, 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's how long it took. That was the longest, oh my gosh, that was the longest time I've ever took. It's like, it was for a financial institution in Jamaica, and it took a lot because it was a different region. It was different. It just took me a while. It's like it was an hour and 45 minutes. Usually it's under an hour, and I'll have enough information for a company to create and show them a successful spearfish attack, show them vulnerabilities in their system and their outlays. It's like when I'm using, when I'm going after a company, especially when physically, people don't realize what's out there. Sorry, I gotta take medicine. It's like someone reminds me after this is over that I need to still take my medicine. But so then you go and you do the research that you can do. It's like on one company I broke in November. I showed up to their job with an employee badge that was counterfeit because someone of their employees put on Instagram a picture of their employee badge. I went into this one company and I knew exactly that once I went in, and one of the key things about breaking into a place is you have to act like you know where you are. You have to know where you've been. Like I was breaking into a bank in Nicosia, Cyprus once, and I went down this path and I was like, oh, this is definitely the way everybody's going. It's like, I'm gonna go through this way and look like I belong here. It ended into a wall with a plant. And it's like, and the stairs were in a different area. But you see part of the stairs coming up. It's like, that was an illusion because that wasn't where the stairs started. So I looked like an idiot and instantly blew people realized, okay, he's never been here before. I covered it. It's like, you know, like I was looking for network jacks and outlets and stuff, and I was going through doing other stuff, but it was bad. So you've got, but you go onto a company's architecture, whoever they hired for architecture, sometimes on their architectural web pages, they'll have shots of the company's internal structure, not the blueprints. Sometimes you can get blueprints. Sometimes I've gotten blueprints. Those are awesome. But just pictures and interior shots, so you know exactly where things are placed and you know where things are at. So when you're doing OSINT, it's not just OSINT about who works there, what they do. It's like you can find out different pathways. Google Street View, you know, it's like beams that, you know, bird's eye view. You can see different places. Using Google bird's eye view, I was able to figure out that I could jump from one part of the parking garage to the roof of the building, and then was able to get into the building that way. It's like because they didn't have a good enough gap or any kind of protection from that occurring. So do all that kind of research. But literally, it's not that. If you go and you start talking to your clients and you explain to them, and I found out this is true, and this is the reason why I make sure that I stress that this stuff is so easy that I can do it, is that if you tell your clients that you're going in there and you're going in like a red team ninja, and you're using all these buffer overflows and these 0 days, and it's like you used all this nation state testing on them, that comforts them. That makes them feel better. That makes them feel like, oh, well, of course you got in. You were doing all this ninja stuff. You were in a company uniform. Of course, oh my gosh, of course you got in. You were amazing. We don't have anything to worry about because we don't have to worry about nation states coming after us like that. I walk in from the front door, never been in the building, don't know who anybody's name is, and within 2 minutes and 22 seconds, I'm now behind the bank teller line, and I have full access and control of that bank for over 30 minutes, including access to the bank manager, and the bank manager doing what I say. There's no defense to that. You're screwed, and you got to fix that stuff. It's like there's no getting around that. So that's what I try to do. I always try to do the lowest common denominator first. If you have to up your game, that's awesome. That's a legit finding. And then you tell them, we try to do this all basic, but you guys were too good for that. Good job. We then did this, this, and this, which gave it enough sophistication that we were able to bypass your controls. Show them that. Show them how you had to step up, because it makes them feel better that they had some things improving, and it shows where they need to improve more. It's like, don't just go in there and like, you know, carpet bomb them, or, you know, tactically nuke, you know, from high orbit. It's like, you know, using an ion cannon for Unreal players. It's like, no, it's like, show them we did this. It's like, this needs to be fixed. It's like, that's too easy. And then work your way up. Let's see. Yes, thanks to the WCTC for hosting. Info for all my friends. When can I get a duck, Jason? You know, the ducks are everywhere. I actually just got a shipment of ducks, which is really cool, from an anonymous friend, though I think I know who this one sent me them. And I tell people, go to Amazon and buy your own ducks. It's like, if you don't know what the ducks are, my friend El Cantaro, one of the most amazing, and also another person I happen to look up to very well. It's like one of the amazing, you know, self-respected person. It's like, you know, He's a rapscallion. Okay, I'm just saying I don't want him to get upset because I called him a respectable person. But one of the people that I respect the most personally, the key core of being a hacker. Everybody wants to be like James Bond. This mother is actually, Q. He's like Q. It's like he builds all kinds of. He literally built. It's like yes, it is a place of honor. He built me with a Raspberry Pi case. It's like a hacking tool that is also brass knuckles with my name and glitter, the glitter stones, whatever those things are, the little bejeweled things. So he's awesome, and he creates all kinds of tools. And he did a thing where he had a whole bunch of rubber ducks, and I made the mistake of making fun of him on Twitter or joking about his rubber ducky bath. And then one morning, I found 200 ducks delivered to my door. And I'm like, and I started putting the ducks out. It's like, what am I going to do with all these ducks? So I started realizing, well, I can randomly place them on my neighbor's mailbox when I go to do my 3-mile walk at night. And lo and behold, the neighbors started loving it. People were like figuring out what are all these ducks doing? And it was just spreading joy. So, and to me, and I got to experience that again in Helsinki. It was amazing, where I got to actually see someone discover the duck, and you see the happiness of just out of the blue, a random duck showing up somewhere on top of someone's mailbox, on a statue, on a dorm room table. It's like in a bookshelf in the library. Just randomly seeing a little rubber ducky just is amazing. I was literally in tears on the river of St. Petersburg when I saw an old lady, just the joy radiating from her, when the quizzical look on her face and the smiles that she was, as she found a duck. And so that's what they are. Go to Amazon, buy 200 ducks, and start randomly placing them throughout your city. It's like I take now 3 or 4 ducks to every place I go to, and I drop those ducks off randomly, and it's amazing. And it's like, I'm very selfish. It's like, it just makes me feel good knowing that I'm spreading that kind of joy. So, you can be very nice in a selfish way. It's like, if that makes you feel better. So, but yeah. And let's see, I believe you said go duck yourself. Hey, I did not say that. But you're paraphrasing very, very, very quickly and funnily, so that's cool. Do you do a lot of reporting after an engagement? Is an important skill to focus on learning while in school? But man, okay, this is one of those things where I have to totally be honest. I hate being a hypocrite. Okay, so when I'm telling you this, understand that it's totally not something that I do. Okay, but yes, reporting is report right. I still actually tomorrow have to write a report out, and I'm not going to write it out. I mean, let's be honest, I'm not even writing it out. I'm using the Otter for voice thing for an iPad. I'm just going to narrate it, and then whatever it types out, miscorrections and all the mistypes, I may look over it once, and then I'm shipping that to the client. Like, here you go, because I suck at reporting. Okay, don't be me. It's like reporting is vital. Reporting is important. It's like it doesn't matter how great you pwn somebody. It doesn't matter how great or vulnerability you discover. If you can't properly communicate that to your management, if you can't properly communicate that to the client, they wasted their money and you wasted their time. It's like, once again, the only reason you're there is to make them more secure, is to help them out, is to make them better. So they need that report so they know what actionable things to make. And I know I sound like a hypocrite because it's like I just said I was bad at reporting, but I try to give them that reporting. When I do an engagement, I do a lot of my reporting on site, individual, one-on-one. So what I'm not writing down on paper so much, I'm definitely conveying directly to the source and to the people to help educate and teach them. So I'm not too much of a hypocrite, but it's like writing the stuff on paper. So if you can get a writing class or a report writing class or something like that, to me, that's like, torture, but it's like, go for it. It's like I have the way my brain works, it's like obviously not normal, it's like, it's very hard for me to focus to write stuff. Because when I start writing down, I start hyperventilating, and I like trying to narrow down like what I'm saying or what I'm spelling is I'm spelling, and I get too focused and I lose track of what I'm trying to write. And I will write things, and then my brain is thinking it too fast. So I will notice that words are missing because my brain just assumed it was already on paper, I guess. I don't know what happened. But it's like I didn't type it. It's like I totally thought it out. It was in my head, but it didn't make it to the paper somehow, and that's very annoying. But learn that. My unit in Maryland was the Ducks, and we left rubber ducks at the other units as a taunt that we've been there. It was fun. Very cool. That's awesome. It's like that's a very malicious way to spread some joy, but hey, I'm not going to judge. I don't judge. Do you have any tactical suggestions when it comes to building personal connections in InfoSec, especially thinking about remote folks who might not be able to fly to DEFCON or HOPE? Your best tactical suggestion. That sounds really, militaristic. It's like your best tactical suggestion is get involved in your community. It's like I'm the DEFCON group's global ambassador, and one of our best slogans is, if there's not a local DEFCON group in your area, start one. It's like, be that. Create an area for you to start having local meetups. It's like, there should be local meetups everywhere because there's hackers everywhere. It's like, so try to reach out and try to build the community there. It's like, don't have to go somewhere to learn that. That's what also, Twitter and Slack and Twitch, there's all these other things that you can do and you can get involved in, but nothing beats going and being able to have pizza or meet with people in real life and talk to them and put names to faces and avatars to faces and figure out those kind of things. So try to stay local. It's like first. And Twitter is your friend. Reaching out and being active on Twitter. It's not just about providing a whole bunch of content. It's like interaction, bringing up, good points. It's like finding good news stories and sharing them. That's how I started a lot of my Twitter engagement, was basically trying to find the different stories and sharing them to people who actually were interested in hearing it. It's like, so that's one of the biggest things that I did. What tools do you use to increase your skills? But my biggest skill is talking. I talk a lot. I also put myself in uncomfortable situations, obviously like this right now. What tools do you use to increase your skills? Yeah, I got nothing on that one. For me, it's like, because what I would suggest to you, because it's so much easier to suggest it for other people. It's like, if you want to increase your skills, you've got CTFs out there. You've got different website challenges that you can go to. There's also CTFs at security conferences that you can do. You can do some of those remotely as well. You don't have to be there. Also, OSINT CTFs, social engineering CTFs. There's a lot of different kinds of CTFs that you can practice your skills. One of the main differences between a hacker and a criminal, and that is always going to be permission. It's like, so going and doing these CTFs is a great way to do that with permission and learn and increase your skill set. And do you recommend the tools to complete, and do you recommend that, oh, that's part of the other part, I guess. I recommend all tools for newbies. It's like, we've got this huge thing in our community that sucks really bad, where it's like, well, this is an advanced tool, or this is a tool that you, and so many people in this community that are total noobs, it's like, are like really shooting themselves in the foot because they're listening to that and they think that's credible advice. So therefore, like, yeah, that's too much machine for me. It's like, I shouldn't try that. Screw that noise. It's like, look at the tools that interest you. Look at the tools that are going to be better for you as a noob are the ones that you're interested in and want to learn more about. It's like, don't wait for anybody else to tell you what tools are right for you, or what tools that you should be using, or what the best tool for that thing is. Look and do the research and find it, and then make mistakes and realize, no, that isn't right. I don't like that one. And then going and starting over again. It's like that's hacking is frustration. It's like with education and exhilaration and a whole bunch of other Asians are in there. It's like, you know, but it's like, it's basically that. It's like, that's how you get that education. See, another Asian. So it's like, that's how you do that. It's like, so start working on the things that interest you. It's like not what interests someone else and they said this is what you needed to know. It's like what, because it's like if you come into information security for a career choice because you think it's going to make you a lot of money, you're going to suck really, really bad. Because the people that you're going after, the criminals, they're having the time of their lives. They're having a blast. They're loving it. So you need to come at them with that kind of passion. It's like, and that's not also to say that you can't do a 9-to-5 job. It's like, and then go home and have one of those things that they call, what do they call those? A life. It's like outside of InfoSec. You can do that too. But during that 9-to-5 time, you better have that passion to be looking for those bad guys and figuring out how they're trying to get in or what they're trying to do to break in. It's like, because it's like they are enjoying their job. It's like, so you should be enjoying it as well. It's like, find out what you love in this community. It's like reverse engineering, threat intel, mobile application security. It's like network infrastructure, IoT. Find out what you enjoy, what makes you happy doing this job, doing this career, doing information security, doing hacking. Find out what it is, then find someone to pay you for it. Don't go and try to say, well, this is where the most money makes. That is a horrible way to do it. It's like, because then you'll be making lots of money and being miserable, then burned out, and you're a goat farmer by the time you're 30. And I mean, no offense to goat farmers, I know a couple of them that are like really having a great time. But there's got to be more to it. If you first started information security, your end goal wasn't to be a goat herder at 30. So it's like, go in and find out what you really are passionate about, and then find the job that will hire that and make you better at that and make you learn more on that. Let's see. What is the most overlooked security vulnerability you see? I rant on that all the time. The most overlooked security vulnerability that you're ever going to see is humans. It's like it's so cliche and it's so like, oh, I knew you were going to say that, Jason. Yeah, because it's true. It's like humans. It's like, and not stupid users. Do not ever say stupid user. It's like, because the users are not stupid. They don't care. It's like, you know, it's like I drive a car all the time. I can't if you put a gun to my head, I'm not going to tell you how pistons work and why the gas has got to go in there to make the explosion, to do the thing, and why are spark plugs necessary? Are they still necessary? I don't know. I think there's still spark plugs in cars. It's like, I don't care. I don't need to know that stuff. Gas pedal, brake pedal. I got enough money, I don't have to use the clutch anymore. It's like, you know, because it's like, that's why I don't drive standards anymore. When I was poor, I had to drive standard all the time. It's like, I hated it. It's like, I got an automatic now. It's like I know how to operate the mirrors. It's like I can change the radios. It's like the clock sometimes. It's like depending on the model. It's like, that's all I need it for. Stop thinking that your users have to know all the inner workings of the computer to make it to be functional. You need to tell them what they need to do. You got to let them know if they're going to be using the seat belt. They need to know the proper rules and regulations to be surfing correctly and using the tool properly. Just like you tell a delivery driver, they have to use a seat belt, you know, that they have to know how to operate the mirrors. They have to make sure the car alarm's turned on. They can't leave the keys in the ignition. They can't drive over the speed limit. It's like you have all these things for the delivery drivers because you don't want to lose that, you know, $30,000 vehicle. but you let an employee not properly educated on how to use that computer, and you lose 300 million. And that's okay and acceptable for some reason. It's like, train your employees and let them know from day one that that's one of their job responsibilities. That's why they care, because it affects how they feed and clothe their children. And if they don't realize that that's actually part of something that helps them feed and clothe their children, they don't care. It's not stupidity. It's just they don't care. It's lack of ownability. I don't know what it's called. It's like ownership. There you go. It's like high school dropout. It's like it's just a lack of ownership. It's like that's what's getting you. It's like, so teach them how that they're partly responsible. They're part of your security team. They're part of keeping the information secure, keeping the stuff that they do on a day-to-day thing secure and private. It's like, teach them those things, and that is tied to their actual performance and how they're employed, and they will do it. Not because all of a sudden they're like, you know, security conscious. It's because of their job requirement. They don't want to get fired. Treat it like that. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So you got to drop off. You went to say thank you. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions? I can rant for hours. I think the longest one I did in Singapore was like 2.5 hours or something. It was like, or maybe more, that wasn't even filmed. It was a lot. Are there any other questions? Anybody got anything else? Bueller? Oh, yes. Hold on. I need that. It's like, hold on a second. Hold on. And yes, I'm wearing my mini pajamas. Don't judge me. When you become a big time information security professional, you don't have to wear pants either. So, hashtag life goals. Okay. Got the diabetes. So, anything else? We're all done?
All done? All right, last call. All right, well, I want to thank you so much, Jayson, for flying home and then talking to us right after.
No worries. Glad you did it.
It's been great. Everybody's saying thank you in the chat. And we'd love to have you back anytime you want to rant.
Okay, that sounds good. I hope some of those answers provided some formula of, you know, something, you know, educational at some point.
I think it was great.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you. Bye-bye.